drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll lock 'em. Up 'em. If he reach, then I'll pop 'em. Street sweeper, I'll wash 'em. Homicide, come and chalk 'em. Drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll lock 'em. Up 'em.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros are reports from ESPN. They're reporting that the agreement between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford is now in jeopardy. So it was, I believe, Mike Carpenter who reported that they had an agreement for November 19th. And now Mike Carpenter is saying that that agreement that he reported is now in jeopardy because of these reasons. We're going to listen right now.
Cop, 2 weeks ago, you reported that Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence was close to being made, but we still don't have a deal. What's the latest?
Max, we're getting further away than ever before. It was targeted for November 19th. I am told that if it does happen now, it's going to get pushed into either December or January. And the issue, Max, I am told, is that there are disagreement in the contract over event expenses and basically transparency related to those expenses. Terrence Crawford agreed to take the short end of the split and work off of no guarantee, and he wants to be able to just have some transparency there related to it, since he's going to be working off of the net revenue. And so far, they have been unable to clear this up. It feels like Al Heyman is holding up the deal right now. He advises Spence. Spence wants it. Crawford wants it. And for Crawford to agree to work off of just a purse split shows you how badly he wants this, in my opinion.
Hold on a second. You mean to tell me, because anyone who follows the way, Hollywood or anything, there's no such thing as the net. It's all the growth. I mean, certainly if you don't have oversight of the books, right, approving expenses, or certainly at least knowing where all the money's going, no one would ever agree to a net. The fact that Crawford's, you work off the gross. But if you're working off the net, then certainly if what you're reporting is accurate, then Crawford would be out of his mind not to insist on that. And you're telling me that that's what's holding it up, that Al Heyman, who's advising Errol Spence, is not giving Terrence Crawford oversight over expenses or giving him transparency to the books, of the books. He's not letting him take a look at the books. And that's why Crawford won't sign, because that sounds to me, Mike, like a duck. That sounds like Al Heyman doesn't think that his guy is going to win and is ducking Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, this is a mess right now, Max. I mean, they're trying to work through it. They thought they had a deal, and they need transparency over the expenses, because Crawford, that's how much Crawford's going to make, right? This is a massive fight, as you've said over and over. Crawford wants to make sure he's being taken care of course. And it's different, right? Errol Spence is on the Al Heyman side. He's with PBC. He's a big star in his own right. Crawford's looking for some transparency in good faith. And so far, they have not been able to come to terms on that.
And incidentally, I would welcome Al Heyman on this program to tell his side of the story.
Good luck with that.
But it sounds like a duck to me. If it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck.
All right, so that's what Mike Carpenter is now reporting that is holding up the potential mega fight. I'm gonna turn it over to you, G. What's your reaction to all that?
All right. This is where I'm confused, because why would Crawford, to me, just give him a dollar amount, right? And this is where I'm going to actually come to Al Heyman's defense. With PBC, it always seems as if they're doing something that the IRS doesn't like. You know what I mean? They never really make, their numbers public. I've heard several fighters say, Al always gives them, kickback money.
Hey, what you doing, G? What you doing, G?
No, but I'm just saying what these fighters have said publicly, right? So clearly, Al has an operation going on that all PBC fighters is getting some type of bread that we not supposed to know about. So now that Crawford's like, yo, I'll agree to a lower split, but I need to see all the expenses for this fight. That's why Al isn't responding, because it's like, yo, fam, you're not a part of the squad. We don't close that.
Still the G. Still the G, my guy.
Yo, I'm just saying, I could kind of see what Al, like, I'm not mad at Al, but hey, if people want to believe that Al doesn't want this fight, whatever. I honestly believe Al wants this fight. I think he just doesn't want to disclose his accounting. You know what I mean? So Crawford, relax. Just ask for a flat fee. Like, yo, this is what I want. If they could give you that flat fee, take it. But you talking about, yo, you want to see the books. Forget all of that. We're not sharing that info. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, bro, we can make money. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, listen, yo, I understand Al. Like, I'm telling you, because I'm like, I've heard probably 5 PBC fighters say that Al looks out for them, and they all like when they'll be like, "Oh, you're supposed to be making X amount." He's like, "Oh, that's what you think." You see what I'm saying? So I already know Al be having separate bags. You know what I mean? Like, he be probably taking gate money. He be probably doing all kind of stuff. Pay-per-view money. He be slicing up. You know what I mean? He's like, yo, he tells his accountant, yo, don't report that. Yo, like, tax write-offs.
Right now.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh.
I'm gonna come to Al's defense right now. You just set up a RICO on him.
Yo, with all due respect, you know me, I'm speculating. I don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying?
This is all speculation. This is all
speculation. But TC, that just seems mad funny. That's how you know TC ain't down with the squad, because he's talking too logical. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, ask for a flat fee, we gonna deliver. When you start asking about, yo, send me the expenses and the Excel sheets, and all right, bro, we gotta leave you where you at. Go back to Bob or something. You know what I mean? Like, we good.
All right, Trill Out Bill.
Shred all the paperwork in the PBC. Shred all the paperwork. This is what we do. Al remind me of Red from the 5 Heartbeats. He ain't getting a look at my books. You know what I'm saying? My office hours are from 9 to 5.
And then Max had the nerve to fix his lips and be like, "Oh, Al, you're invited to the show." Like, Al gonna really show up. Like, come on.
Al don't show up to his own fighters' fights.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, bro,
but Al gonna show up to Max Kellerman on boxing.
Nah. Listen, man, this reminds me of May 2nd, 2015. Fight that they thought was never gonna happen between Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao.
Facts.
You know, they brought up so much stuff going on, and people thinking this fight wasn't gonna happen with negotiations back and forth, this, that, and the dirt. It almost got to the point where the people didn't care no more. This has been going on so much, maybe they're trying to do the same thing, but it's getting right to that point where the people ain't gonna care no more. You gotta give the people what they want. You know, you gotta give the people what they want. I really don't know. This is he say, she say this. But from what I heard from both fighters, they want to get the fight on. I just think it all comes down to what this whole game has been coming down to lately. It's not about the legacy, and it's not about the passion and all this. It's coming down to the almighty dollar. That's what it's coming down to. And everybody's trying to scratch and get whatever they can possibly get to make sure that they're well compensated on every end. You know, it seems like Crawford is really trying to make this fight. It really doesn't have no bargain chips, but that one rusty belt he has, you know, and if he wants to go and make it happen, he got to go over there with Spence, and it seems like he's realizing that now.
But Trill, is he really trying to make it happen? Have we ever heard of a fighter saying, "Yo, I need to see the paperwork"?
He just, he just probably wants to make sure that he's going to get the bread. He was like, man, listen, if I'm going to do this, man, let me just make sure that it's there. I ain't going to get, I don't know how y'all roll over there. Like you was just speculating.
I've never heard of a fighter say, yo, I need to see the net. You know what I mean? I need to see all the expenses. You know what I mean? Like, why you need that? Like, why you need that, bro? All you need is how much money you want. That's when
maybe he's not even getting that, so he wants to know how much. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna, generate. I really don't do the contracts and the
sound like
paperwork
he
thing.
just wants to sue Al, bro. He just wants to sue Al, man. I don't know.
Hopefully, listen. After this, Al gonna have to. I'm gonna have to get a whole new office after this
I'm telling you, Al about to ship all his money to the Cayman Islands, yo. After this,
yeah, man. But yeah, I just hope that they don't keep prolonging this to when the people don't care. Then eventually, the interest is not there anymore. When they had it, when it was hot, it was hot.
Yeah,
and I'm sure if they put a day, it could get back up. But I'm sure they had, detour a couple of people because they didn't waited so long for this fight. They're gonna have to make it a good spectacle with a good undercard or something. Don't just give us that fight. You know what I'm saying? But it's that's how I feel. Don't wait too long. Let's make this fight happen. I really don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but hopefully they make this
on the
happen.
undercard.
You know what I'm saying? And Max, when did Max become like this? I remember young Max from HBO. Max was this what Max is doing now?
He getting money now.
I guess so.
All right, TBE.
This sounds a whole like there's a lot going on right here. I'm gonna say this. TC sound a little spoiled, yo. He was he was on the other side of the street, and now he's a free agent, and he wants what he was gaining from his last contract. So, but he doesn't know how things operate on the other side of the street. Like, where all these fighters have been comfortable, and now he's coming up ruffling the feathers, and he's asking for things nobody else asked for. And this is news to me for the first time, like where a fighter's asking for like what y'all gonna gain in food sales, ticket sales, the cost of the arena, things of that nature. And I'm like, it's good for somebody to ask those things, but it's not good when it's like,
nah, he not asking for that. He's asking for the breakdown of the expenses, because the remainder goes to whatever the split is. So it's not like you keep let's say like the revenue, right? Is revenue minus expenses, right? That's what y'all split, right? But he wants like the net, so that means I need to see all the expenses broken down. And then whatever the remainder is, that's my split. I'm like, yo, why you need to see all that info, fam?
Because if it's so much for the venue, they can do it in the backyard at the crib.
Like, I was like, you don't need to see that. Man. Respect yourself.
Yeah. It seems like
you don't need a caterer. Then my auntie will make the mashed potatoes and the potato salad.
It seems like him and Al gonna have a real sit down real soon. Because Al gonna have to talk this man, and Al gonna apply that pressure. Like, hey, young man, you don't know what goes into this business. You need to mind your business, or else, I don't know, protect TC at all costs. That's all I'm saying. If TC don't cooperate,
he said if he don't cooperate,
that's what I'm saying. It's a Godfather moment. I do this favor for you, and I'm gonna need another favor in the future. And it just seems, I don't know. TC just move carefully, move cautiously, and we all know what it is. My man, a boxing cousin Compass used to say, when Al Heyman has a document, it's gonna be, we praise Al Heyman before we praise God. And so be careful. Be careful.
We praise our accountants before we praise God. You know what I'm saying?
Be careful. Kaden not co-signing none of this. Kaden no problem. I'm just saying. Be careful. be careful because you asking for a lot that nobody's asked for.
I don't know, man. On this show, I just like give my opinion and how I see things, and sometimes I'm attacked by like people's fan bases and whatever. In this scenario, though, if I agree to the lower split, which conventional wisdom is going to be, it's a 40% split. It's going to be 60-40. Yeah, I'm going to do something. I'm going to take this time to remind you all I told you this was going to happen, that TC was going to have no leverage, no options, and was going to be shelved and then have to agree to the 40% split. Anyway, should have done it when I told him to do it in the beginning, and he wouldn't have had to wait all the time. But anyway, just want to point that out because you said I was being a hater. You said I was being unrealistic. You said I didn't know all this stuff, and then boom, 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 boom. So if these reports are true and he's agreeing to the lower split, like I said he would, it would be for those reasons. Now let's dive into this issue. If he agreed to the lower split, which is most likely 40%, right? It's not being disclosed. What's being disclosed is that he agreed to the lower percent. There's what you gross minus expenses, and you split the net, right? Mm-hmm. So TC is working with Al Heyman in PBC for the first time. And he's had issues with them, and he's already stated his issues with PBC. And for some reason, when he had the opportunity to sign with PBC years ago, he chose to re-sign with Top Rank, right? And not go to PBC. So that made it difficult to make the Spence fight happen. Then he turns around and he accuses Bob of not getting him a marquee name and racism, and he sues Bob Arum, and he leaves Top Rank. Now he's trying to negotiate with PBC for a fight with Earl Spence. He has no leverage really because the fighter he needs is Earl Spence, and Earl Spence has access to so many fights that Terrence Crawford doesn't. Bob Arum's not going to let TC fight anybody on his stable for a fair deal. Al Heyman's not going to let TC fight anyone on his stable for a fair deal. And then there's Eddie Hearn, and he really don't got no welterweights on his stable. Excuse me. But even if he was going to let TC fight one of his welterweights, he knows that TC doesn't really have many options. So TC is going to take the lower split. So if you're TC with limited options and limited protection, what would you want? You would want to see the expenses, right? Like, you would want to be like, if they just came to TC and said, yo, after the money we grossed and minus the expenses, what's left over for you was $2 million. And TC's just supposed to trust that? No, man. If you're TC, see, I can't. Like, see, there's a lot of things I can ask TC to do. Like, humble himself, take 40%, do all this. I can't ask TC to just take money with no verification. I just can't do that. Like, so
you need to check where the money going.
Yeah, I think you make a good suggestion, G, which is just ask for a flat fee if you're TC. Right. Just counter with a flat fee rather than blow up negotiations and smoke. If it's about, because I do see, why should Al Heyman have to open his books and all that to TC? It's like, at the end of the day, bro, you won fight. You're not my fighter. Why would I give you all this information about how I do business? You already suing one of your former promoters who made you the highest paid welterweight, gave you the best contract that he didn't even make out on. And now you want to look at my books so you can try to sue me later? Like, come on now. So if I was Al Heyman, I would offer him a flat fee. And if I was TC, I would make a request for a flat fee, and they can seem to work it out. But if you're TC and you're agreeing to a split, you got to know You got to know the expenses. Otherwise, you're going to get robbed. And we've seen it in the sport of boxing. These aren't the most noble men in these promotional deals. These promotional companies, these men, they're not the most noble men. Look at Eddie Hearn. Look at how Eddie Hearn talks about Canelo, how he runs with Canelo. Look at all these. Come on, man.
Sure. Damn.
These dudes, they for you one day, they against you another day. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way it is. So if you're TC, the only protection you got is to look at them books yourself. So I'm not going to sit here and be mad at TC for wanting to confirm that his split is accurate. In fact, like, some people do it all the time. Like, maybe you're one of those people, you go to the store and, you know, you buy something, you give a $20 bill, they give you your change. Maybe you sit there and you count the money to make sure you get the correct change. Me personally, I just take it and go, like $20, whatever. But if you were talking about millions of dollars, millions of dollars.
You know what I'm saying? Let me see this paperwork.
No. That's funny you said that because somebody told me, man, you don't trust nobody, man. I took $200 out of the ATM and I count that right there.
That's what I'm saying. You one of those people. Even the ATM, you going to count that money. I can't get mad at TC for maybe he's one of those people. Maybe TC's one of those people who buy something for 99 cents. He give him $1. And they say, okay, and TC be standing there. Like, I believe you owe me a penny. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
and then they got to open the register again.
iRobot. Y'all seen iRobot? Yeah, all right.
Yo, they open the register again. Give TC his penny. He goes, thank you. Then he drops it in that leave a penny. Leave then he walks out.
Leave a penny, take a penny.
Leave a penny, take a penny, leave it that. It walks out. No, but for real, like, yo, I feel like as boxing fans, like, we can't be so thirsty for the fight that we overlook simple logic. Yo, this is just a man who wants to verify his money. I'm not mad at that. Yo, he got a lot of kids, a lot of responsibilities. You know, he has a family, people who he looks out for. Like, yo, he deserves to be fully compensated. Yo, there's no way in hell, like, Al Heyman, you know, and I get our side too now. This dude is known for, you know, suing, and he has a lawsuit open against his former promoter, who I feel like did well by him. You know, maybe he didn't value him the way he valued Vasily and TC's eyes, but he damn sure paid you more than he paid Vasily. And so,
let me pose a question. Do you think TC has ever asked Bob, let me see the breakdown of all my expenses from the event?
It would be
I bet you didn't.
G, there's a reason why Bob said TC cost him a lot of money. You
know what? You're right. I didn't even think.
I'm gonna tell you like this though. It would be irrelevant in this situation. The reason being is, right? TC was signed to Bob Arum, and TC was actually getting paid his agreed upon contractual minimum. So he didn't care as long as he got his minimum. Although, like you said, G, if he looked at them books,
no, that's what I was just about to say.
Bob Arum was losing money left and right on all his fights.
That's what Bob finally did. Bob finally looked at the books. He did ask Bob for the book, and that's when Bob
I'm losing money left and right. They said, what the hell's going on? They said,
you the one that made me go look at my book.
Let me review all my contracts. Looked at TC's contract to realize. He said, I could have built a house in Beverly Hills with it.
He done fired somebody for not keeping it up.
But nah. So now he's dealing with Al Heyman. I don't fault the man for wanting to count every penny. That's your God-given right, yo. Like I said, whether you want to take that penny back when you buy something 99 cents, whether you get some money from the ATM and you want to count it, you got the right to do all that. No one should shame you for it. Even if you got some money in the bank, I don't care if you took out $10,000 in the bank and they gave it to you. and you want to count it in the bank, and people behind you mad, and you say, "Hey, man," then they may ask you, "Can you step aside while you count this money?" Okay, I'm gonna step over here because I'm coming right back to this. You know what I mean?
All over.
Yeah. now I gotta start all over. No, but for real, I don't fault anyone for want to count all their money. But at the same time, I don't fault Al Heyman for being like, yo, why should I have to reveal like everything? Like, you know, but in all honesty, I feel like if that's what's gonna hold this fight up, then just make a flat fee. But see, I understand though.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
But the flat fee may get you less money if the fight does well. Because, yo, G, you know what this is. People are anticipating that, let's be real, we got two black fighters. Mm-hmm. We had two black fighters, TC and Earl Spence. And people are assuming that because they're two black fighters, that this fight is going to be bootlegged. Heavy. Mm-hmm. And so they don't really feel like the fight's going to generate the type of money that it potentially could if everyone purchased the fight. But if you're TC and you got faith and you're like, they're the ones who think this fight's going to be bootleg. I think my people going to show up. I think my people going to support us. I think we're going to do better than they think we're going to do. I think they're throwing us low numbers. So I want to ride with my split because I think I'm going to get paid more money off my split. How can I fault him for that?
Well, I'll say this. I'm not going to fault him because I'm being honest. If I was a fighter, I would do the same thing. And I always wonder about like rappers and athletes that don't really go line for line in their contracts that make sure they understand what they're signing. However, with boxing, because cards include other fighters, now TC will have access to what everyone made on the undercard. And Al's probably like, do I really want to share that with a dude that's not down for the team? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think if I was Al, I'm like, you don't need that info, fam. All you need is just a flat fee, fam. Just name your price and we're going to give you your numbers because you don't need to see what everyone else is making. Oh, go ahead, man.
And that's where I agree with G. Like you from across the street. You're not going to ruffle feathers over here on my side.
You're not squad.
You're a free agent. I don't know. Did G freeze?
Nah. Go ahead.
I don't know. G just froze when he in the middle of his statement, and
I ain't freeze. You stunned by my presence. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever. I don't know what you just said just now because it froze on my side of the street.
You gotta leave AOL alone, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hey, come on, don't do it. But my thing is TC is come to a new organization, or he's not part of PBC, but he's working with PBC. You gotta understand how they work. He don't know how they work, but he gotta understand. And that's what I said. Him and Al gonna have a sit down real soon, where Al's gonna break down on him like, yo, don't ruffle the feathers over here. My fathers eat good, you gonna eat good. Don't worry about the numbers.
It don't matter how they do it over there. The reality is, like G just said, it shouldn't be uncommon for fighters to be able to sit down and look at their contract and look at what they're being made and look at each item to make sense of what they're being paid. I think the general issue is, you made a great point, G. He gets to look at what it take to put on the entire card, what it took to book the venue, what it took to pay security, what it took to pay the vendors, what it took to pay all this stuff, right? And then he gets to look at other people's purses and blah, blah, blah. I think, if anything, what he would be entitled to, like, he shouldn't be entitled to what, say, someone on the undercard's making. He shouldn't be entitled to that. I think what he should be entitled to from the beginning is he should know what the overall expense is going to be, because they'll know that from the beginning. Once they book all the fighters, once they book the venue, once they book everything, they should let TC know, like, okay, the expenses is going to be $4 million. Like, we got $4 million in expenses, right? Then I think he should be entitled to how many pay-per-view buys the fight did, how much money it generated, how much money they generated from the gate. He should be entitled to the overall gross let the fight me. And then I think he should be able to deduct the expenses from the overall and then say, okay, so my take is going to be 60%, 40% of what's left. I think he deserves that breakdown.
Y'all let us know how y'all feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. Please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. Yeah, we be getting it in. You know who we are. We the Boxing Bros.
And I'm Team Al on this.
Al, don't show him nothing. The Alpha's hours are from 9.
G being sleazy right now.
Sleazy G Records.
Sleazy G Records.
Yo, y'all
BBG. WBG, yo.
PBC could literally blow up PBC spot, yo.
I feel you.
Fight. He could snitch and be like, yo, this person making this. We only made this in the pay-per-view sales. Blah, 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 blah. Bro, that's too much, bro. Like, you can't trust a guy that's outside with all that info. I'm sorry.
Who already sued his last promoter.
For real.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like,
I feel you.
no,
And
yo, and
you say you give him the overall expense. If I was TC, I'm like, yeah, I don't trust you. I need to see a breakdown of all the
You're right.
persons.
He's probably never going to be comfortable with the numbers he gets.
That's what I'm saying.